Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition on Dante Must Die difficulty. This is Mission 7, and we're going through the campaign using the character Vergil, and we're doing so without using any items. Now, some of you may think to yourself it's a waste of time to do these if all that's going to happen in the end is that the guide gets deleted, and I understand that completely because it's my time that's being wasted to make these guides. When I say wasted, though, I mean it's only wasted if the guide gets deleted. If it's not, then it's not a waste of time whatsoever because I really enjoy making these guides and I enjoy playing these games and then narrating everything afterwards. But trust me, I realize that full well, but when you commit to a really hard difficulty with an additional stipulation of not using items, and especially when I've written or typed no items on the title cards, there's nothing I can do to change the rules. So it's either I do it or I can't do it, and it's one of the hazards of making a stipulation on an already challenging difficulty setting. I mean, we're not playing on normal, for God's sakes, so things are going to be particularly challenging. And I have done the extreme editing process on this video, meaning that every fight that I go to that has the barrier that comes up and then that gets torn down after the fight, all of anything that's skippable, anything that's loading, that actually says loading on a screen, like anytime I go to another room and there's even like 1 or 2 seconds where it says loading, that all gets excised. See right here? That's all excised footage. So these enemies here, this is a mandatory fight if I'm not mistaken. In fact, I know it's a mandatory fight because I trimmed out the little section where the barrier gets torn down when you do the fight. So those are scarecrows that have been infused with the chimera seeds, and that is what that enemy is called. They're called chimera seeds according to the bestiary. And now we're going to be moving on to this section. So the checkpoint that they give you, I don't remember where it is. It may be at the start of the level. In fact, I think that is where it is. So just kind of an update. The next video will be the Credo boss fight. I don't have many problems with Echidna too much, but Credo, I think he's impossible. Impossible if you are not inhumanly good at this game, or if you're not doing some kind of a spamming technique. So I wouldn't really, it is a rant in the next video. The whole video is a rant, but it's not like out of anger, it's just like self-loathing, I would say, more than anything else, because I feel that I'm horrible at these games, and it really shows in some areas. So I do apologize if that's not what I'll be very careful of. See that? Be very careful of that. I barely made it over here. But the thing is, if there's enemies around, you can't do the trick up without like doing a horizontal trick. It's just, I was trying to get that blue orb. If you rewind the footage, that's exactly what I was doing. So normally what I was doing over here, I think I mentioned it on video 1. Yeah, video 1 with the Dante fight. Normally if I'm doing this section, I just throw holy water to just get rid of everything, because if you fall down there, it's a forced fight with like 3 sets of different enemies. You'll either fight Mephistos or Chimera Seed infused blades or Chimera Seed infused scarecrows. So anyway, so yeah, I do apologize if the next video is not going to be to your liking or if you're uncomfortable listening to it, but just realize that I did it out of like an honest, it was engendered out of an honest kind of a appraisal of this game and my own skill level, which is extremely lacking in this game. So, and also realize that it's not going to prevent you from getting helped in the next level, because I have a very good tactic of dealing with Credo, and it involves just one attack, just one simple attack, and I hated to do it, but it's either that I do it and I disappoint myself, or I don't do it and I delete the guy and then I disappoint the you know, the dozens of people that are watching this. I don't know how many people are watching this, maybe 10 people. I have no idea. There's some regular commenters that are always welcome and always great and legends, but if you're not commenting, there's no way I know you're watching the video, because I don't check my analytics, because I don't care. This is not a channel where I make any kind of legitimate money. It's not even about that. If you donate, that's great, but you know, this is not a lucrative channel by any means. I mean, we're up to 3,800 subscribers, but we're never going to get to the level where it's a living or anything like that. It's just because it's a hobby and I like it and it's fun and I like sharing my experiences. That's it. So, another forced fight here. What you want to do is to take out the Chimera Seeds before they mate with the host body over here. And if that happens, you've got flailers. And if you know what that means, it just means that they're very hard to attack close up. And they do a lot of jumping around and whiplash attacks. Echidna, for me, it took like the first time to get her down, like on the last guide that I did before it was deleted, it was about 4 hours, possibly 5 hours of struggle. This time it was about 3 hours. So I'm telling you those numbers just for you to know how bad I am at these games and how long it takes me to do these fights. So I think what I'm looking for is a final enemy over here, because the music's not stopped. And we can't do the wind run to home in on enemies like we can in Ninja Gaiden 2. But there is no checkpoint over here, although you are allowed to use this to deal damage to these enemies here. And I'll have to check my other guide, but I don't think you're permitted to use this as Nero. It just seems like the risk factor here was, maybe it's on Dante's chapter on the jungle. But I'm so glad I'm not using Dante, because I hate Dante. I hate using Dante. This is a game that belongs to Nero. And it commits a bad sin of switching the characters midway through the game. But fortunately, since we're using this character, there is no switching involved. And for those who are wondering, I will be doing a Nero no item run on Dante Must Die after God of War 3 Remastered, Pain Plus. Although that is one of the biggest candidates to ever get deleted, because Pain Plus, that's insane. That's really insane. Maybe I'll do Pain, I'm not sure. All I know is that if ever a project was likely to get canceled, it's definitely something like that. And like I said, it's just the hazards of making these guides. Because even though I feel bad about deleting stuff, anybody who starts complaining, I have no sympathy for them, because I've already stated so many other times that there's never a guarantee that anything I ever start will get finished, and that's not out of laziness. That's because there's no guarantee that anybody can do anything. Like, take a guide like Vanquish. I was vanquished permanently, and people will never stop saying, well, just keep trying, you can do it. No, that's not possible. When you're vanquished, you're fucking vanquished for good. There's no way I can do it. It's impossible. So I will just stay where I am, vanquished on the ground. I don't care. Because that's an unfair fight. It's unfair. It's too difficult, and it's completely cheap and it's just cruel. Okay, Echidna boss fight here. I would definitely use the Beowulf and do the Lunar Phase 2 on her. When I did this guide originally, I had done this chapter and I was using the Yamato roulette spin and also the aerial strikes of the Yamato, and it just doesn't work as well as this. The Beowulf allows you to stay in the air considerably longer and stun and stagger her. So when she drops up there, I don't really know of a good way to get up there, and I really wouldn't focus on getting up there too much, because you're going to have to dispatch one of the Chimera Seeds. And mostly it's just holding the lock on constantly to make sure that you're making sure that you know which way you need to avoid. And I mean, this just works too well for me not to recommend it. I mean, it is kind of cheap, but it's in the game. It's a legitimate moveset, and it works too well. I mean, it's not even that it works. It works too well. So when she says "feel my power," you will be dodging projectiles. But the more you stagger her with concentrated hits, like literally with the concentration gauge filled out, and marry the devil trigger attacks with that, you're going to be seeing her getting stunned constantly. So it's a great opportunity to capitalize on it, and even use the beast uppercut to do distorted attacks, meaning that you charge the right bumper plus back and Y hold, and then as you're doing the uppercut, you use the devil trigger to distort the frames. And it's kind of a letdown, though, that you'll have a couple of lackeys to deal with, and it's just that they're not even that hard. It's just that they completely distract you when you need to be focusing on evading constantly here. And I really should take the turbo mode off here, but I think I'll be keeping it on for the time being. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm having such a difficult time not taking damage, because everything's going so fast. I've always had turbo mode on. I'm not sure why I don't take it off. It just seems like something that would be good to have on there and more fun. But after you get the Separothic Fruit there, you're going to be running up to there. We'll get a scorecard, and we'll be finishing up this chapter. So that's a hard fight, but the more you use the Lunar Phase 2, the easier it gets. So take care.